Hello everyone, and welcome on in. I'm Velvet, and thanks for joining me today for the Spring Flower Shop speed build. So we will be building a beautiful flower shop, and it's inspired by spring. As you can see here, lots of flowers, and you can basically smell all the beautiful blooms in the air, and it's just going to be precious. But I created this build for the Spring in Full Color collab, and this was hosted by Xomi Simmer, who is a fabulous builder, simmer, in person. So, win win win. And if you want to check out some of the other builds around the place, I mean, they are all fantastic. So, don't be shy in checking these out. It's hashtag TS4 Spring in Full Color. So you can check that out around the place. And hopefully you can see some more wonderful spring inspired builds. What inspired me about, oh, basically the thing that inspired me for this build was spring. Surprise, surprise. But when I think about spring, I think about flowers. And then we had the Businesses and Hobbies new EP come out in The Sims 4, and I was just like, oh, flower shop. And it was funny because not that long before we got the announcement of Businesses and Hobbies, and at this point, obviously, I had no idea on how the Businesses and Hobbies pack would work. But we sort of got not long before we got the announcement, I'd been talking about wanting to build a flower shop. And then we got the announcement, and I was like, oh, now I can really build a flower shop. I mean, I probably could have built one before just from Get to Work, but I just wanted to do like a little flower shop and a residential, which is what this is. So this is not just a flower shop. It's actually got a little flat at the back. So the flower shop owner can live there, and yeah, business and residential. So it's one of the small business style homes that you can put together as part of the Businesses and Hobbies pack. So it will go up on the gallery as a residential, but if you want to have it as a flower shop as well, it's very easy just to set up as a small business as a flower shop. And that's basically the inspiration for it, and how I kind of came around to it is just like I'd been wanting to build one for a long time, and then we got the EP announcement out, and I was just like, perfect timing. So I didn't start this build until after the pack came out, which left me with a bit of a tight time frame as far as the collab went, but hey, I made it work. It's all good. And two of the colors that I really associate with spring are pink and yellow, and that's sort of the color theme for this. It's probably a little bit heavier on the pink, but there are little pops of yellow around the place as well, because yeah, I think spring and I think yellow and pink. That's just how my head works. And green, obviously, because spring, green, all the fresh things. And I love building cutesy things. I don't always do a lot of cutesy builds, but I feel like this is a real cutesy build, and I just kind of leaned into it. I did try and restrain myself so that I didn't go too over the top. I don't know how successful I was. I do have an issue with going over the top. I can't help myself sometimes because it's just like more, more. And then before you know it, I've just gone crazy. But that's all good. So, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just creating the backyard garden, and this kind of belongs to the residential part of the build. And the idea is that the spring flower shop owner has a little garden area where they can grow their own flowers, and they're going to have a flower arranging table so that they can actually create their own flower arrangements. I didn't set this up with any flower arrangements, but you could definitely do that. I have tested out playing with flower arranging and selling the arrangements, and it works really nicely. You can actually get Sims to come along and do flower arranging themselves, which is quite cool. So I ended up, this occurred to me a little bit later in the build. I kind of built around the side of the shop, and I just did some of the flower selling stands, which you can sort of see me the blocks there. Those are where you can sell the sort of the flowers from. And I did some of those around the side, and then it occurred to me later. I was like, oh, I should put some flower arranging tables in there as well, so that the shoppers can use the flower arranging tables as another draw for the business. So ended up adding those in a little bit later. The interesting thing with this is that with businesses and hobbies, flower or retail shops actually work a little bit differently from Get to Work, which is where the original, obviously, retail idea comes from. So with Get to Work, you need to have a retail lot, and then you have a counter, and you set up all the things you want to sell. So you can have like the bigger items and the smaller items and whatever you want to sell, and then you need to go in and you need to set it up as with these items for sale. With businesses and hobbies, it works a little different, and the thing is that you can't actually sell those bigger items. So if you were wanting to do a furniture shop, you would have to set it up as a retail store rather than a small business. But with smaller items that you can place on the selling pedestals, which is, you can sort of see these ones here that I've picked up from businesses and hobbies. And I might mix a few of the Get to Work ones in there as well, but these are primarily going to be the businesses and hobbies. Man, that's a mouthful. Uh, pedestals. And you have to have these specific pedestals as well as some specific ones from Get to Work for the retail to work. Because what happens is that you use these pedestals and then you put items on those pedestals and it automatically sets those items for sale. So as soon as you set up a small business where you have browse by as an activity, then those items will be available for sale. So you can only sell small items that will fit on these pedestals with the businesses and hobbies pack when you are setting this up as a small business, which is what I'm doing. So if you're wondering why I am setting up all of these pedestals, is because the flowers on these pedestals are the things that will be selling, and anything else around the place that is on the ground will not be sold. That is just purely decorative. So yeah, that's just basically a rundown of how the businesses work. So you set up the kiosk and you set up the activities, and you have flower ranging and browse and buy, and that will set basically your flower shop up. Easy as that. And it's quite interesting just with the way it is set up, because you can't actually have it ready to go on the gallery for someone. I mean, you can have it all set up ready to go, but they would need to physically be in the game to set up the small business. So it's quite an interesting concept. It's really not how I thought it was going to work. I thought it would probably work a lot more like the retail that we already have in the game, but no, it's quite different. So interesting. I mean, it's much easier to set up, but you just can't sell those bigger items, which is a shame. So if I wanted to have a furniture shop, it would only be things that I could put on a pedestal. I mean, I love, love, love those little circular pink flowers. I think they're from is it the Backyard Stuff Pack? Pretty sure. It's one of those stuff packs. And it's just like super, super adorable. It really is. And it's just, I almost went overboard with those as well. I did pull myself back a little bit. Up in the top area, I wanted to have this as like another sales area, but like a nice little seating area, and another little garden area as well. So I did set it up and open it up for customers. I did initially think that this was going to be for the resident to be able to access, but as I was sort of building it and as I was going along, I was kind of like, wow, no, this feels like more of a customer area. So I did end up opening that up for the customers. If you're wondering about those shades that I'm using, they are a debug item from Eco Lifestyle, and you can access those with the debug cheats. But they are basically the fabricated items. So if you're making items with a fabricator, this is one of the items that you can make with a fabricator. And do you know what? I'm really into the eco lifestyle fabricated items at the moment. I don't know what it is. I went through a phase a while ago where I was using them all the time, and I've just kind of circled around, and I'm back in that phase. They're just, I don't know. I feel like they really suit the businesses and hobbies kind of vibe in a way, like the style of the eco lifestyle pack as well as the style of the businesses and hobbies pack. They're quite heavy on the wood items, and I feel like those two packs really work nicely together. And just going into debug gives me those extra items essentially. Oh, and I did set up fairy lights everywhere. I didn't show you all of the fairy light work, but I did set up little of the little string lights that came with businesses and hobbies, and they're so cute. I love them. I really love how flexible they are as well for putting around in different spaces. So I kind of had them up the side of all the windows, around the side of the building, and around the top of the building. So it does actually light up at night as well, and it's like super cute. Yeah, and I just had a lot of fun with it. And also like the little awning with the stripes, it was just like adorable. I was working off an inspiration for this one, and I don't know how well I captured it. I mean, it's just a little hard. It was kind of like one of those AI kind of cutesy little inspirations, which, you know, it's AI, so it's not really all that realistic. But I just kind of like the cute vibe and the shape of it, and I just wanted to capture that. You know how you just see something and just like it sparks something in your imagination, and it was just this picture just sparked something in my imagination. And it's certainly not a exact replica or anything like that, but it I feel like I sort of got the vibes of it, and then just kind of ran with it. It was just the spark, and then off I went. So I'm just sort of setting up the last of the bouquets here. Just like flowers everywhere, and I'm just sort of looking at it and like, oh no, I've got a gap over here. Let's add some more stuff. So more pedestals going in, and I'm just making sure they're around the right way so that customers can access them. I'm hoping that like the pedestals are all accessible. It was, yeah, it was a bit hard to play test every single pedestal because I did play test this, and the Sims did come in and they did buy the bouquets and they did the flower arranging, and it was great. But there's just no way for me to play test every single pedestal because there's so many pedestals. And you know what? They actually really enjoyed like sitting on the seats. Like there would be cute little couples sitting on the seats and just hanging out, and it was really adorable. So I absolutely had a good time just playtesting that and just seeing how that all worked out. Now, this ended up being a bit of a limited pack. Like, it's not super limited, but it is kind of limited, I think. Oh, nah. It's really not. I'm just looking at the packs I used, and it's a lot. It's really not limited at all. It's not every pack, but it's a good chunk of them. Yeah. So I'm really sorry if you have got limited packs. This just is it was for a collab, and I didn't want to hold back as far as the packs went. I wanted to have all of the things that I liked in this build, and I wanted to make it as gorgeous as possible because you're in a collab and it's not just for you, it's for others as well. And although not I share all my builds, so I'm saying that I'm just like, well, it's not it's not true. All of my builds are for other people. What am I saying? I always build for other people. And yeah, but I was putting in lots of effort, and I didn't want to limit myself with packs just to, have access to all of the things that I wanted, basically. Sometimes you just do that. So how I created the sign for this is I created a half wall, and then I used the curtain rails from Desert Lux and used them above and below the sign just to create like a little frame for the sign. So I thought that was cute. And the sign itself is actually a decal from Businesses and Hobbies. So we are moving on to the interior. So the interior is pretty simple. We've got a bathroom that will be within the confines of the shop area. So I'm going to have an interior shop with flowers and a bathroom that's accessible for customers. I have found not having a bathroom with Businesses and Hobbies is problematic because you just end up with pee everywhere. So please remember your accessible bathroom. It's a good thing. So yeah, I made sure I had a bathroom for this, and just keeping with the cute little pink thing. And look at that tile on the floor. That tile in the bathrooms was from Businesses and Hobbies, and it's got like this cute little floral theme, and it was just perfect for this build. Ah, what I'm doing here, I in the picture that I was using for inspiration, it had like a flower van, and this is me trying to replicate like or just give the indication that this is a flower van. So I'm just doing like a big display of flowers on the top because I'm just like, oh, that'll be cute, and it was cute. And it was actually pretty easy to just put together. and have you just throw some flowers on top of the car and or the van, and it was adorable. So I ran with it. Yeah, so this is the shop portion or the interior portion of the shop. Imagine having to take in all of those pedestals and all of those vases every night if you've been like running the shop. Like that's what you'd have to do in real life. It would be like an hour before you close, you'd be starting to take things in because it would take so long. And then your shop would get so crowded with all the flowers because you have to cram them inside the shop for overnight. It'd be like, oh my gosh. Anyway, but this is not real life. This is a Sims, and we don't have to worry about closing up for the night if we don't want to. So I'm just, again, using all of the retail stands from businesses and hobbies and adding lots of little cute flowers and decorations and greenery and bits and pieces. I used the beautiful wallpaper from Decor to the Max, so that has all the roses on there if you're wondering where that comes from. It's a gorgeous wallpaper. It's one of my very, very favorite wallpapers in the game, and I do use it quite often when I am doing a more expansive pack build. I have been trying lately to do a few more limited pack builds because, I do want to make them, or, a good portion of my builds accessible to a lot of people if I can. I know people like to download them and use them in their games, and having all of the packs is sometimes challenging for people. So yeah, I do like to think about that. But in this instance, I just went full steam ahead with the pack, so I do apologize. But sometimes I do like to build with all my packs. I have them, and I would like to build with them. So I guess that's just the thing. I do try to be accommodating, but sometimes I just want to play with all the things, as you do. So this is the double bedroom. So you could have a couple or just a single in this room, either or, entirely up to you. And I did kind of balance out the all the pink in the room with a touch of grey. There is like a bit of grey within that wallpaper, and I wanted to bring that out a little bit more. So I did that with the rug and the little block wall there, which is just the pop of grey colour there. And I felt like it just sort of toned down the pinky pink of it all. So this is moving into the bathroom slash laundry in the flat area or the residential area. So, I mean, there wasn't a heap of room, so I kept it pretty simple as far as the bathroom went. I didn't get too crazy on that. I found like with doing any platforms inside the building, I ended up having issues with the freeze going around the outside of the building, and I really like the freeze outside of the building. So I kind of had to avoid platforms inside the house, and I couldn't really do anything sort of fancy as far as platforms went. I was initially going to do something around the door with platforms, but it was a failure because yeah, just I there is an issue in the game in The Sims where if you are putting platforms inside the house, sometimes it does affect the outside of the house, which it shouldn't, but it does, and it's a little frustrating, but it is what it is. So you just work around it. And I really liked that freeze around the outside of the house, so it's just like, right, well, my fancy old platforms will just have to go. So in the rest of the living room or the house, basically it's just kind of all very open flow. So the only two rooms in the back area are the bedroom and the bathroom, and everything else is open. So you kind of have your open living room space and a kitchen and a dining. Also a tiny, tiny little office space as well, because I thought, you're running a business and it really makes sense to have a little office space because, you've got to take care of your accounts. You're a small business. You're probably going to be doing your own accounting, possibly, or, you're certainly going to be needing a computer for something or other. I finally put the cat TV in there, and then I changed the wallpaper, and then I had to change the cat out of there. I was so excited when that cat TV came out. I was just like, I'm going to use that in everything, and I haven't used it in anything yet. Can you believe it? Like, I love it, and I still haven't used it in anything. You can see I changed the wallpaper, and then I had to change the TV because it works so perfectly with the wallpaper. It's just like the cat looked okay, but then I found the lady, and I was just like, oh, that works so perfectly. I have to get rid of the cat TV, and I was like, I want the cat TV, but it just I had to go with the aesthetic that worked best, despite my desire to have the cat TV. Oh well, there will come a time where I'll be able to have a cat TV in one of my builds. You'll see it, and I will be so happy. But the lady with the red hair just looks so perfect there, and I couldn't resist that. So just popping in my clutter into our kitchen. So I'm using the Life and Death kitchen with the beautiful trim on it. It's just such a lovely kitchen, that one. I love the gold metallic trim. Oh, and that's Grammy's recipe book. So that's the recipe book, the book that you use to create the family recipes. And if you haven't got businesses and hobbies, basically what you can do now with that particular book is just create your own recipes in a way. You kind of use a base recipe and then you can add like an ingredient to it, and then you get like a special moodlet with it, and you can unlock different moodlets throughout your lifetime as a sim, so that you can create different recipes. And I think it's a really cool idea. It's really cute. I haven't played around with it a lot, but I've played around with it a little bit, and it's fun. And I like that you get like these little moodlet boosters when you eat these family recipes. It's quite cute. So you can see I am putting together our little home office, and I'm diving into the Comfy Gamer kit because that kit is so good for home offices and cute little study nooks and just all of the computer things. But that is about me. We're going to go to screenshots, and I want to say thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.